The ring was just sitting there, untouched for years and years in the dank and desolate woods, missing a diamond for as long as he could remember, sitting at the foot of a large boulder for as long as it could remember, just waiting. It had seen fires, blizzards, rebirth from beautiful plants, and the harsh reality of nature, but the worst it had seen was the horrible betrayal that ended up with the one perfect diamond ring being lost forever in the forest. Of course, the forest had not always been this way. The ring remembered a time when the trees were green and youthful, the bushes bared fresh berries, and the wild animals were friendly to anyone who came to visit. It all changed in one night, and that only proves that beauty can be gone so quickly. Luke had told Alex to meet him by the large boulder in the clearing of the forest, but not bring her car. She parked her father's old rusty pickup truck on the gravel road that broke off into many dirt trails and hiking paths. It was almost 1 a.m. "Shit, I'm late," she said as she quickly put on her jacket and jogged down the trails toward the boulder. Luke was exactly where he said he would be, sitting on top of the large boulder, waving an old oil lantern above his head and signaling Alex that he was there. As she approached, Luke leaped off the rock, carefully keeping his lantern from touching the ground, as he slipped on the mud and fell on his face. "Well, at least this is safe," Luke said, brandishing a small box as he stood up. Alex looked surprised by the small box in his hand and stepped back slowly. "Luke, what is that?" "I love you, Alex. This is the only way I could truly show you." Luke carefully placed the lantern on the ground and opened the small mud-stained satin box. Inside was a beautiful diamond ring. 3 diamonds on a golden band. Alex looked baffled. But Luke, how did you afford that?" Luke took Alex's hand and slowly slid the ring onto it and smiled wide. "It is beautiful, Luke," Alex said, looking at the ring and cracking a slight grin. "But I had no idea this is how you felt about me." Luke looked surprised. "I've loved you since we were kids. Of course I feel this way. I don't care if you're about to get engaged. I love you, and I want to spend the rest of my life with you." Luke began to raise his voice and grabbed Alex's wrist to pull her closer. Alex screamed, "Luke, stop, that hurts!" "But you have to love me, you have to," Luke said, looking at the ring. Alex looked at it too, and noticed an oxidized stain in a crevice of one of the diamonds. Luke, how did you get this ring?" Alex started to look more and more frightened as Luke tightened his grip on her wrist, feeling almost like it was about to shatter. Luke let go of her wrist and turned around. "I told you, it doesn't matter. What matters is that I got it for you, right?" "No, Luke, tell me, or I'm leaving." Alex started to walk towards the hiking trail. "No, you can't leave. You have to love me." In a panic, Luke lifted up a heavy rock and threw it at Alex, crushing her ribs and knocking her to the ground. Alex lay there weeping and begging just to go. "Please, please, Luke, why are you doing this?" Luke lifted up the rock above his head and stood over her. "You have to love me," Luke said with an emotionless face. Alex started choking on her own tears, spitting while she was in pain from her ribs. "I just don't. I'm sorry." Luke shook his head. "No. I'm sorry." He brought the rock down straight in her chest, crushing her ribcage, piercing her lungs. Nothing but coughing and gurgling came from her mouth as the ground around her began trading colors with her skin, her eyes rolling back in her skull while Luke lifted the crimson rock back up and tossed it away. He searched her body for her keys, wiped them clean before putting them in his pocket. Grabbing the wrist of the now limp body of his true love, he dragged her to the boulder and covered her in fallen branches before taking the oil lamp from the ground and starting to walk back to the road. As he was beginning to get near her truck, he turned around and threw the lantern at the boulder. setting the body and the surrounding forest ablaze. He tossed the keys into the open driver's side window while he walked past the truck and continued down the road, smiling while he wiped the last bits of blood off his hands. See, I told you. The ring had been sitting there, waiting. But that might not have been completely true. It hasn't been the ring that's been waiting for years. Don't be silly. It's been the woman wearing the ring that's been waiting. Waiting to take revenge on the man that said that he loved her, and a town that never bothered looking for her when there was a small article in the paper about two star-crossed lovers leaving town together, leaving everything behind.